So today I have with me Jesus Templado. He is the COO at Less Than Three, a Spanish startup. Jesus, I am super stoked to have you here.
Mhm.
Why don't you give yourself a little bit of an introduction? I think you'll be able to do that much better than I ever could.
Well, sure, I'll give it a try. Thanks, Frederick, for inviting us and for having me here. Well, as you said, I am the COO of Less Than Three. I've been launching, working, and growing Less Than Three for a couple of years now, even though the company is 3 years old. I'm from Spain. We are from Spain, from the north of Spain, from a county called Asturias, which is located in the, I'd say, western end. And yeah, we launched this observability focused product business in 2023. And since then, we've grown a lot, I like to believe, but not many has changed from what we had in mind when we started. And I'll be happy to tell you about, everything we've been doing for the past 2.5 years.
Nice. Why don't you let's start with like a brief like introduction of what do you do and who do you help?
Okay. Well, we've built an observability platform because we've always thought that observability nowadays became a strategic layer because it's a tool that enables businesses or anyone to understand what's happening under the hood, what's happening under the hood of an infrastructure or the cloud, and then that naturally expands into areas like cost optimization, security, and sustainability. And now that modern businesses see this exponential growth of cloud computing, cloud storage, and the associated energy and obviously cost related to that, we saw that observability was a great opportunity and the way to go. So we've been building and improving our product since, I'd say, the summer of 2023, soon after we started operating. And we provide that technology, or we leverage that technology to help businesses make the most out of their investment in the cloud. And that, or those projects come in various forms. We've been helping small, medium, and large businesses from many geographies and many verticals so far, because as I like to say, the common denominator is more the dependence on the cloud that a business model may have rather than what they actually do for a living. So that's like the common thing that we can help them with.
So it comes down to like efficiency, cost savings, actually having like the overview of where can we improve, where we may be overspending, where's like the
Mhm.
efficiency not there, to be able to then actually make those improvements. Is that like part of the platform as well?
Yes, it's part of the platform and the functionalities that it has. I mean, what happened in practice is that our technology obviously wasn't mature enough when we started, and for the first, I'd say, 12 to 11 months to deliver all the capabilities that we had in mind, or all the value that we had in mind. We had to complement it with more hands-on ad hoc work from our DevOps team, like you'd say ad hoc projects. That wasn't the plan, but it actually became a huge advantage. And you may ask
It's a
why. I mean, it gave a
get to know your customers and what they actually need as well.
exactly that's it. I mean, it gave us that direct exposure to the real world complexity that they experience, and it allowed us to shape the product and its functionalities based on actual real world DevOps problems and not just assumptions. So it wasn't about just thinking on what's the product roadmap. Not we saw what they needed. We were doing a lot of this stuff manually, and then we started building those functionalities that you were just describing, right? And yeah, I mean, for the past 2 years, we've been able to build a predictive observability platform that goes beyond traditional monitoring. And as you said, it is not only about optimization, which is a huge hook for someone that decides working with us. I mean, everyone wants to decrease cost, but it isn't about just cost cutting. It's also about intelligent spending, as I like to say. But it's also about anticipating failures. I mean, if your cloud, if a cloud instance isn't working properly, that may affect user experience. That may affect a card that has, a bunch of things that are being bought. A user may not be able to complete a transaction. So it's about making sure that we anticipate those failures, we explain those root causes, and then we're also moving towards automation, but that's a different topic. Probably I've responded too long to your question, but yeah, that's our, I'd say, growth for the past 2.5 years in terms of product.
Nice. So the actual like adding on, I guess that's also like with AI agents and everything. Like how are you coping and how are you implementing AI with everything that's happened in like AI and tech and how fast that is moving currently?
I mean, I guess for society, it's scary to look at many of these advancements. For us and many people that I hope will be listening to this, they may also agree it's a huge opportunity for businesses because there is a lot of open software, open code, and stuff like that that can be used and leveraged by businesses like ourselves. I mean, last December, I mean, thanks to the Ministry of Science from Spain, we got this grant from, it's called Neotech, and this allowed us to have a significant push in terms of product development. Where is this money going to be applied? One, we see that agents is something that we want to take advantage of, and where we see that agents can be very useful for us is with everything that relates to automated resolution of the failures that I was describing. And before that comes to an issue that needs to be resolved, there has to be an interaction between our software, our platform, and our observability technology, where there is a description of what may happen, or if it has happened, why did it happen, and we can rely on LLMs to continue that, I'd say, nexus between technology or human and machine. So it's about leveraging with what I think it's growing the most for the past months and years, which is LLMs and agents. And the big two pillars that we want our platform to be great at, better than everything else out there, is that automated resolution of issues, like helping any DevOps team, any DevOps engineer, very quickly, very swiftly resolving issues. And before that, being able to really understand what happened with a semantic layer and a very easy understanding of what went wrong.
It's that actually thinking through as well. I feel like it's a bit of a stage thing as well, because AI right now is also developing so fast, so you can like build it so that you're able to implement a lot of things, and there's always, or like right now, there's always going to be things that it can't fully do, like an agent can't do the entire thing, so it has to be on a platform where the UI also makes sense and the user can actually use it in a user-friendly way. But all the AI stuff is like supplementing and doing all the tasks that it actually can do well. But as that also develops, perhaps like it's more and more that the AI can also actually take over. So it's like also thinking the platform in a way where it's like I'm talking just from my own experience with like we've started building software in-house as well, because now it's possible, and actually thinking through those things like, okay, so right now the AI, like it can't really do this, so we have to like actually create it in a way where the user can also like do the highest leverage thing for the user, but have all of the right information and already be able to see, this is probably the cause, and this is why I think that, like, if you can get that, and the user just have to see, okay, that seems right, and don't have to like dig into all the numbers like they used to. That saves an immense amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, uh, it's exactly that. At the end of the day, it's simplifying and making all of that process way more efficient. So if I have to think how a business would operate around, managing and optimizing the cloud, they would go into our platform and see a few metrics, a few parameters that relate to security, that relate to cost, that relate to energy spending, and a very quick, simple dashboard where you can see that everything is working properly. If not, with a few clicks, you should be able to see what could go wrong, if it goes wrong, why, and if it has gone wrong, the very simple steps to be able to resolve that, whether you are technical or not, because that's something that's in our mind and our roadmap, so that the consumer of our technology doesn't necessarily have to be a senior DevOps engineer. I mean, that's at least what's in our mind. We do have a few players competing in our space, in the observability space, more based in the US. I mean, everyone knows them, and they are listed in, in the stocks market and everything. And I think they have a huge focus on the technical user, and I guess that's fine. But we see there's been a huge gap between that technical world, what traditionally has been called the IT world, and the C-suite and management guys that see the technology part of the business as a cost center. Now that the cloud could be a competitive advantage or a key performance driver, sort of say, we like to be, or we want less than free to be that nexus between understanding the business, that business acumen that the management layer may have, and technology, because now it's becoming one. So this kind of technology and this business model that we are building here should be for everyone to be useful, and for everyone to be able to work with.
Yeah, I can see that.
I hope I'm not being very or too philosophical here.
No, I like it. It's so important to keep the end user in mind, like who's actually going to work, and it's so easy to get caught up in like adding all of these cool features, and now it can do this, and now it can do this as well, and like maybe someone super technical or yourself can use it, but you have to actually make it in a way where the end user, the person that actually needs to read the numbers, or maybe the person that the technical person needs to present it to, is actually able to also understand it. So that's it's a huge driver. What are you like? Who's the primary people that you sort of like start new conversations with? Is that the technical like senior level titles? Is it C-level as well if the company is smaller and very like cloud driven, and maybe like how you actually get in contact with those and start those conversations?
Okay, that's a good question. I think that has changed for the past months and the past couple of years. So as I said at the start, since the platform wasn't mature enough in terms of functionalities, there was a lot of manual work required, and a lot of hands-on work that needed to be delivered, like our own guys clicking here and there and logging into the cloud instances of our clients to perform those changes and those optimizations. Why am I saying this? Because a lot of work that we had at the start came from our own network of former colleagues, former clients that, each and every one of us had previous endeavors, and we were working for different businesses. We had our own businesses, some of us. So we brought a lot of that network, and I'd say that for the first 18 months, 50% of the revenue came from that. Once we started to build the platform to a stage where we could, demo it and do demonstrations with leads and everything, that changed a little bit. We did some outbound strategy with it involved cold calling, as old as this may sound, email marketing. We attended a lot of events, and that gave us, direct exposure to a lot of small startups and scale-ups. And the reason why is because, they may have a business model that's digital, that's cloud native, but they don't have the necessity of hiring their own DevOps guy. But they do understand the importance of, managing it properly and building an architecture that's built for scalability, resilience, and everything. And they could sort of automate or outsource that responsibility to us. At first, in I'd say project basis, because as I said, the platform wasn't mature enough. But now that it has all of those automated functionalities where you get some messages saying, hey, you can reduce this this machine, it's not being used, or you may activate dynamic scaling here. So these sort of insights, now the platform is ready to do that by its own, and then their clients may choose if they do that themselves. I mean, they benefit from those insights and they implement those changes, or they rely on us for us making those changes. So trying to summarize at the start, a lot of the revenue came from our own network when it was mostly hands-on work. As the platform continued to develop, we were able to, doing a more strong outbound strategy in terms of marketing. And now it's a combination of both. But for the past year, we've worked hard in creating a pool of partners, not only in Spain, but internationally. Because as soon as we had a battle card, features of our product listed and very well explained, partners can explain the value of our observability platform way easier. I think we had a previous conversation around this, Frederick, where I discussed that something that we struggled with was outsourcing the lead generation stage. Because, when you're as small as we are, you cannot have 10 business developers. Or you may have them if, you've gone through a huge investment round and everything, but usually you don't. And you try to optimize and make your enterprise as efficient as possible. But the platform wasn't ready enough, and we tried to outsource that lead gen strategy when we were more ad hoc project driven. And when you outsource that to someone that doesn't really understand DevOps and doesn't really understand cloud, it's tough for them to really get that hook and that interest from the guys at the potential client side. And then you were asking who's the buyer. So that depends. I'd say traditionally in this market, I think it's been head of product, CTO, CPO, CIO. When I say CPO, I mean Chief Product Officer. I think that's shifting. And now we see some interest from the finance teams, CFOs, that, they see this cloud bill growing, the energy bill going, because cost and energy are somehow directly related. So we see a combination of both. So it's not only techie and geek guys, worrying about their product performing well and hiring us to optimize their infrastructure. It's more that the management and the business side of things is worried, or at least concerned, in doing things exceptionally. And that's where, an observability platform is differential.
Which of those, if any, are you optimizing for? Are you optimizing more towards? Because from just listening, it sort of sounds like the platform and the business context and the usability that you're also trying to build into the platform, and having that a little bit as your USP is makes sense for focusing on CFOs or people that are not necessarily extremely technical, because then like that's sort of the unique selling proposition of your platform, or is that not really the focus?
I mean, it's part of it, I'd say. I mean, everything we've been discussing till now, I think we've spoken for 15, 20 minutes, I don't know. It's our 5 to 10 years roadmap. If you go into the less than three observability platform, you may see that you get a few snapshots and you can get a quick glance of what's happening, and that can be read by anyone regardless of them being technical or not. But you can also do a deep dive into everything that may be interesting to you, whether that's cost related, emissions related, security, these standards and certifications like ISO, SOC2, like SOC 2. So it really varies, and it's also part of our product roadmap that you can have those two flavors while using the platform at the same time. You can stay at a surface level, getting a view of what's happening under the hood, as I said before, and what's working well, what's not, what's healthy, what isn't. But then if you have the abilities and you are curious about going deep, you'll be able to have the tools and the ability, the technology to be able to do so. Our focus is that everyone is able to understand and use the platform, because we see this gap closing, and it's closing naturally, because the cloud computing, cloud storage, cloud energy spending is exponentially growing, and that's forcing the management and business owners to be concerned about it, and we need to give them the tools to be efficient at that.
So almost like the Apple of observability platforms, with like MacBooks being both like developers actually using MacBooks and like technical teams, you are able to go super deep, but it's also built in a way where most people actually can figure out how to use it, and it's not sort of only keeping the technical person in mind. Maybe I'm butchering your strategy completely.
I've never thought of that. I mean, I think we never thought of that, and we never discussed that. I think it's very, how could I say, brave for us to be compared with Apple in terms of anything. But I mean, that hybridness of navigating the technical complexities and having the tools and the functionalities for DevOps engineers and very qualified technical personnel to dig deep into a cloud infrastructure, plus someone that isn't that tech savvy but is worried about the business as a whole, to be able to see what's going on. Yes, that's something where we want to be differential. I mean, I think there isn't a category for that, because I mean there is a lot of tools in the tech space. Observability is just a niche within the tech space, but where we see our platform is not just within the observability space, but just a useful tool for businesses. And there isn't any category in which this platform could fit solely, if you know what I mean. It's about defining, I mean, since we see this changing and we see the paradigm shifting, we feel we should shift with it and go to, maturity stage where it's a complete different product, a complete different software, artifact. Sounds ambitious and philosophical, but that's where our mind is.
Yeah, you have to be as well. Yeah, it sounds like you're also good at actually, thinking the philosophical part, but actually also getting it into something that's useful. and actually solves a problem.
Yeah.
Which I
I mean,
think is a common problem.
yeah, if I may, there is still a lot of advancements that need to happen in parallel to our own product development. Because yes, we do want to leverage agents for automated resolutions. Yes, we want to leverage LLMs for that semantic layer. But probably it isn't there yet. And it's for us to make the most out of what's going to be improved over the course of the next 5 years. But at least we have that clear direction on where we want to be. And I think that's something that we don't want to lose, is that real world side of what businesses need, because you may go from that partially manual delivery to more automated product engagement, or from project-based work to scalable software, and that involves building a customer success team to minimize churn and to provide that feedback to the product team. But we shouldn't lose that nitty-gritty feeling of the problems that the DevOps guys have on a day-to-day, because that gave us what we have now. So we should continue, doing that. I don't know if that would be an onboarding or an implementation service, but we want to keep in touch with the tech teams on the client's side, because it's what gives you the real feeling of what you need to build within your own roadmap. If you don't do that, or if we don't manage to do well at that, we will be building a product with functionalities that we think are clever, that look cool, with a UX that we think, it can be used by a CFO. But then if it doesn't solve real tasks and automate real issue resolution that, guys need in real life, we would be failing. So it's about accelerating product development in those areas, but without losing that understanding of the real DevOps world, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably the biggest problem that most teams, and I don't even think only in SaaS, or it's literally every business. As you scale, it's you get to that point where maybe you're a restaurant and you start opening multiple locations, where that nitty-gritty feeling of knowing every customer and actually knowing what do they need, and knowing the chef, and knowing the chef knows you, and going down to the grocery store and picking up every little tomato yourself, where you have to find that middle balance of doing that in a scalable way, where you can actually grow and you can actually accelerate the growth of your platform and the growth of your company, and the speed of which that you're developing the product, but at the same time also keeping that feeling, actually having someone that actually speaks to the customers, actually understands what are their problems, how are their problems evolving, what's the new problems that they're facing and experiencing. And if you lose that, there's so many examples of businesses that have scaled up to that point, and then they lose that, and then it's this shell of just a system, but it doesn't really solve the problem that the customer actually experiences anymore. I think it's
it's somehow related to this, but 2 days ago I was watching this I don't know if it's new, this TV show, Gordon Ramsay's one. Yeah, I know, and something that came to my mind that I wanted to not fail at. I saw this guy having I think he has 200 restaurants or even more, 2,000 staff. Where he started was himself being the best at creating, recipes that are excellent, getting 3 Michelin stars and everything. But then when you start and open so many different locations and points, how do you still get the feeling and the knowledge of what's happening in the ground. So I don't know how that will completely translate in a SaaS business model like ourselves. But, we have, as I said, we have to navigate that in between so that we are successful enough in building our product in different geographies while being able to absorb and being knowledgeable of what our clients need. Yeah. So I know it's very different, like restaurants and hospitality and tech, but it's about scalability without losing the sense of what's going on the ground, I'd say.
Exactly. Like, I think it comes down, from my experience, it comes down to like as simple things as actually like just speaking to your customers. Like you can do all of these fancy surveys and like send out surveys and have your customers, fill out what's your biggest problems at the moment. But from my experience, it's calling them up on a Friday afternoon and being like, hey, like just want to chat. How's everything going? Like what's things on the platform that you're, like annoyed about, or what's something that you feel like we're missing, or like that sort of that sort of knowledge and that sort of communication directly with clients is just invaluable, and I think continues to be invaluable. Of course, it has to be the right customers, because if you're talking to like your not ideal customers and you're just listening to all of their like requests and stuff, then you might end up sort of developing your business in a like to actually cater to the problems of like an avatar and people that you don't actually want to cater towards. But if you listen to like your ideal customers and their actual like problems and what they're actually trying to solve, then from my experience, that has like you get so many like golden nuggets that you can just go and like implement straight away. And the more you do that, and I think that's what you probably forget at scale, because now you're suddenly busy with so many and you have thousands of customers or whatever it might be, but still actually speaking to customers, I think is really incredible. What's then the like going forward now? You mentioned that you're sort of, the platform is there where it's more of a mix between the manual side or like the project side and also the platform being there. Like when do you expect the platform to take more over, and has your marketing strategy or your go-to-market strategy shifted after the platform, or as the platform is developing and being more and more ready from what you used to do?
Well, I think that already happened to us. I think we got to a stage where the star of the show is the platform rather than the people behind it. Maybe end of 2025. We are rewriting our marketing materials, our narrative, everything, so that people out there know where we are at, because we like to believe we had a lot of good and positive noise around us being excellent at delivering ad hoc projects for many cloud providers and clients, or for many clients using different or relying on different cloud providers. And many of the guys that trusted us now are purchasing licenses and contracting the platform as a recurrent service, month to month, with yearly and 6 months commitments. So I think we are shifting that, or we've shifted since end of 2025. For sure, now that we have a completely isolated product development cell from the services side that we used to deliver, I think we will be growing, developing at a higher pace. But yes, we will have to change things in how we approach those conversations with leads and clients, because we are accustomed of being very flexible with tailoring, and that's also dangerous because we have our own platform and we cannot tailor, our technology to necessities. Yes, we have to develop stuff, but that will come when we see common patterns, not for specific things. But yeah.
Exactly. Cool. It has been a pleasure having you on, Jesus. You are. It definitely sounds like you're building something that actually solves a problem out there, and sounds like you're gonna also grow it to the moon as everything evolves. So I wish you the best, and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Thanks for listening to me and everything. Very kind words. We hope your words come to reality. We certainly hope so, and would weaken to you.